it's Rob here with a look behind the scenes. It's Badass Overtime, giving you a chance to listen in to Sven's conversation with his guests after the show.
Welcome back to the show, ladies. Lanie, I have a question for you. If you were to be totally honest, and this is coming from someone who has considered suicide myself and actually slit my wrists and bled for an hour and went to the psych ward and all that shit. I know how, and I was in that state of thinking about suicide. Fuck. I mean, it got to the point where it was every day, and that went on for a couple of years, but it was in the realm of thinking for 12 years. And some of the time after I committed it and so forth and was healing from it, there were still some thoughts, but then that began to trickle off the more and deeper I went with my own self-work. I want to ask you this question. What % of the time, days, hours in the day, minutes in the hours, what % roughly, just spitball it, of your time in life of a given day is spent consumed in your inner shit or being tugged at, or your mind is going there, or you're emotionally feeling it or whatever? What % is your inner shit sort of on your mind, so to speak?
Like in life or like in the moment?
In any given day, what % of your time in the day is like dragging or thinking about your shit or feeling it? What % of your day does your inner shit consume you?
Probably 85%.
85%. That's an honest answer. I appreciate your honesty. What that means, one of the biggest insights that I had for myself as a parent, I was sitting on the floor in the first house I owned in Minneapolis on Minnehaha Parkway, and I was doing a puzzle with my 3-4-year-old son. And it was one of these little, 20-piece puzzles, and he was just having a ball and so forth. And I realized I was sitting there, and I found myself getting a little agitated with a 3 or 4-year-old boy over a puzzle. And it hit me in that moment, and then in my journaling that night, I realized I wasn't present because of the inner shit going on inside of me. I was there, present but not present. I was neglecting him because of my own shit. You said the biggest crime your mom committed against you was she would brush shit off and and it was neglect. And so what I'm getting at is, if you don't deal with this shit, you're consumed 85%. To greater or lesser degrees throughout your day. That means your kids are experiencing, they don't have the words for it, and they don't know it's bad or hurtful yet, but they're experiencing to some degree an absent mom, even though you're present. Now, that's a spitball. Am I totally off on that? I could be totally off. Or
that's kind of what's lit the fire under my ass recently, to kind of get my shit together, because I'm not present with them, and they deserve someone who is.
Good girl. Good for you. And I applaud the hell out of you for that. It's a brutal thing to see. It's brutal to see myself doing the exact same damn thing that my mom did, or in the ballpark. It's brutal. But hey, if that's what lights the fire on your butt, God bless you. Della, switching over to you, I want to ask you, where are you at? What's going on inside you? We've covered some ground and had some deep insights regarding you, regarding your dad, and so forth, and regarding your mom and so forth. What's going on inside of you right now?
Kind of patting myself on the back for what I've done and like how far I've come, just even in like the last 6 months, even this year. That, again, coming back to that Beartooth song, I'm still, regardless of what happens between me and my dad, I love myself. That doesn't change.
Beautiful.
And so that's just kind of like, that's also, I think, where I'm indifferent about this relationship with him, because I'm like, it doesn't change how I view myself.
Right. And next steps then for you, or what?
I want to say that because I just had this long conversation with my dad, that I want to give him this one more shot. And I'm like, but why?
No,
after we've had this whole conversation here, I'm like, but why? And I think maybe giving myself some boundaries, setting some rules for myself of like, okay, well, if he wants to be in my life, these are the ground rules. Yeah. I will not tolerate X, Y, and Z.
Yeah, and what's fascinating is the mere fact that you're having this conversation with yourself now says that maybe I should have done this before. And the simple truth is, I'm willing to have a relationship with Dad or with you, Susie, or Jimmy at work, but these are my expectations for how I'm going to be treated and how I'm not going to be treated. So I think that's great. And one of the things I tell people who are considering going back to a spouse, maybe that cheated on them or something like that, is I tell them sometimes we have to keep going back. It's like quitting smoking. Good luck doing it one time and gee, it worked.
Yeah.
And some people can do that, but sometimes you have to do it a few times and you have to learn and you have to have the experience. And so if you need to give your dad another shot with boundaries, fucking go for it. But the bottom line is you still need to go into your shit, young lady, because you got more shit.
Oh, 1,000%.
Okay,
Yeah.
good girl. All right, so let me ask then, Della, final words for Lanie, and then Lanie, final words for Della. Go ahead, Della. Final.
Because I have cut my own mother off, and the way I got to it was thinking about loving yourself. Like, if she doesn't love you, then you should. And if loving you like yourself means not having her there to bring you down, what's the best that could happen?
Wow. Lanie, you're smiling. What does that feel like?
Hearing her story kind of made me look up to her throughout this little chat.
Me too.
So that meant a lot.
Okay. And
funny to have people that relate. Like you don't hear it, I feel like.
Right. And you guys are experiencing right now why I always tell people to get into a group. Get into a group of, married women with children. Get into a divorce support group or a domestic violence group. Whatever your experience is, find a group. And NAMI.org is a great organization. They have groups around the world and you are around the U.S. And you can also look on Google. But there's just something about listening to somebody else's story and conversing with someone else and sharing your story. And then they're like, oh, wow, I didn't think about that. Lanie, final words that you have for Della.
Really proud of how far you've come. And I'm excited for everything that you're going to keep going, keep doing.
Beautiful.
Something tells me you're going to go far.
Beautiful.
If I can do it, you can do it.
That's the point, right? Right? And it's those first steps. It's those first steps, Lanie, and you can do it. And sometimes the ouch inside has to get just a bit worse. And then it's like, okay, I'm going to do a little bit more. I'm going to journal again. I'm going to write another letter and just take those fun-sized bites. Do it in fun-sized bites. And then you'll be ready for the whole Butterfinger. And then you'll be ready for the super deluxe Butterfinger. Then you'll be ready for 2 Butterfingers. Then you'll have a whole diet of journaling Butterfingers. And you'll find yourself having momentum. And it's like, I dig this journaling shit. This is awesome. Ladies, it has been such a treat having you on the show. You just 2 bright lights, good spirits, and you're sorting through hardship, but you guys are kicking it in the ass. You for sure, Della, and Lanie, you're at the beginning, but I have a lot of hope, and I know Della does too.
Yeah.
You're going to do great. Thanks for being on the show, ladies.
Thank you.
That's it. Join us for new counseling episodes every Thursday and lightning rounds every Sunday.
Thanks for listening to Badass Overtime. Now go out and slay some demons and have a kick-ass day.